Welcome to day 3, the final day, the final installment, the final piece to the puzzle of how you can manifest your fuck yes year. This series is all about how you get to manifest quantum leap and collapse time in a sustainable and grounded way while still living an extraordinary life. This is really my ethos, what I'm sharing over these last 3 days, my ethos to how I live my life, how I lead my life, how I'm able to consistently quantum leap and shift and change things up. I'm always building momentum. I always have my vision in sight. I'm reprogramming the things that are getting in the way, that are coming up for me, and even the things that have not come up yet but are going to come up inevitably on my journey, so that I'm able to shift and take action from a grounded, convicted place, a place of confidence and of deep self-trust. And action is, of course, the final piece to that puzzle. Grounding your inner work in action is the step that always gets missed. It always gets missed. Again, your subconscious wants to keep you safe. We use the recode to assist the process of reprogramming, right? And of keeping you safe, of showing your subconscious mind that you're safe, of reprogramming the thoughts and the beliefs that have your subconscious thinking that you're actually not safe. But the next step now, the greatest thing that you can do on your journey is to go out into the field, into the arena, and do the things. This is how you show your subconscious that you are so safe and worthy, and that you can do, achieve, and receive everything that you desire to. During this session, I'm actually going to take you through another process that you can revisit at any point in time that's going to reveal your obvious next step. See, to really ground the work that we did yesterday, there is one very specific thing that the field, quantum superconscious, wants you to do, requires you to do in order to really ground this work. But firstly, I want to touch on the whole concept of quantum leaps again, because so many people believe that the quantum leap occurs in the big, bold thing that puts you so far out of your comfort zone. And sure, that is absolutely where changes occur. But I would argue that no change, no shift is necessarily bigger when it comes to the quantum field and the moves that we make than another one. The micro moves that you make, the things that you do on a daily and weekly basis are sometimes so much more important than just going and doing that big, bold thing. And I'm not just talking about your habits or your rituals or your routines. I'm talking about the nitty gritty, how you show up, how you lead yourself, how you hold yourself, how convicted you are in yourself, how much you can anchor into trust within yourself as you are moving about your life. The law of gender states that everything has a masculine and a feminine principle or energy behind it, and that these two energies are the basis to all creation. A lot of people think that to be in manifestation to quantum leap, you need to stay in your feminine and in your receiving. And of course, that is true. We need to be open to receiving, open to downloading the wisdom, open to flow. But there is still that masculine piece that requires the structure and the action taking piece. And I know that a lot of people also talk about the law of attraction and the law of assumption, saying that basically what you are is what you attract, and that you can just assume that you already have the thing and therefore you'll attract the thing. And like, that's beautiful and wonderful, but there is also the law of inspired action, which states that you must actively pursue your goals and dreams in order to manifest your desires. Manifestation is actually a full collective of all 12 universal principles put into action at once. So you cannot skip one or leave one out thinking that that's going to be the key. I just really don't like when people are out there saying you don't have to take action. You can just imply the law of assumption and the law of attraction and just magically attract all of the things that you desire. Of course, there is always going to be evidence of that happening. Of course, there is magic. Of course, we get to just attract amazing things into our life and into our worlds. But you also want to be the one in the driver's seat, because that is kind of just leaving everything out there to fate, right? And I'm all for trust, but I'm all for trust in myself. I am the co-creator. I don't believe that manifesting is just putting stuff out there into the world and waiting and hoping for it to come back, right? I believe that what we do is we co-create with the universe. It's a beautiful dance of energy, of being and of flowing and of doing and of receiving, creating, right? This is for me what it's all about. And that means that there is a piece that you need to do, that I need to do, that is the active pursuit of our desires. We have to hold a piece to this. Putting it out there and waiting for magic from the universe is a way that you're self-sabotaging yourself and waiting and giving your power away. So many people are out there giving their power away, waiting for things instead of creating them themselves. You have magic within you. You get to create the life that you desire to create, and this is the way that we do it. There are a few different ways that you can take action, and I've kind of danced with each of them, and I don't want to say that one is necessarily better than the other, but there is definitely one that I found the most preferred for me and that leads to the most sustainable results. And they are, the first is inspired but manic. You know when you get a download or a piece of wisdom or an idea to do something and you're so excited about it and you decide to just run with it, right? And this is a beautiful piece of advice when you're first in this world and receiving intuitive downloads and all of that stuff and really building on your intuition. This can be a really empowering place to be. It can feel really expansive to be in this space, especially if you've come from a place of total inaction and like doubt and lack and no trust within yourself. The problem with manic inspired action is that often what happens is you receive a download, you run with it. You're so excited that the energy is there and you're showing up and you're doing the thing and you're not waiting, you're just going out there doing it, and it's really fun and cool, right? But then you hit this point where the excitement has died off and maybe people aren't signing up, or maybe you've had like a little brush up with doubt or lack or scarcity or some limiting belief, or you've been triggered by something. Like, who knows what comes up here, because all sorts of things come up at any moment. And if you're not doing the reprogramming work, like I spoke about yesterday, this stuff actually has the power to completely take you out of action. But you brush up against this thing and all of a sudden you can feel that your inspiration, your motivation, the energy is starting to drop. And that's because it was manic in the first place. It was relying on an external source. You got the download, you were excited about it, you ran with it, and then you didn't get the same back. You didn't see your audience as excited or something like that around you, right? I see this happen to women who get an amazing idea, they run and they tell their business bestie or their mentor, and their mentor isn't as excited about it as they are. So then all of a sudden that energy is like kind of like it drops, and then they can't maintain it. Manic inspired action is really difficult to maintain unless you are just a naturally really high, bubbly, inspired, like really energetic person. If you cannot maintain that energy, it portrays on the other side of the screen as lack and doubt and that you don't trust yourself, right? And again, remembering people can feel this on a subconscious level. It's not a conscious thing. They're not out there saying, or maybe they are, sometimes they are, but usually people aren't out there saying like, oh, something's off with her. Like, I can tell that she's dipping into lack or doubt or anything like that. Often they can't tell, but there is like a barrier that gets put up and they're like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, I was kind of into it, but something is just off, right? And we don't want that. I want you to feel inspired. I want you to move with the guidance and the wisdom that comes with it, that comes to you. But I don't want it to fall into a place of it being really manic and all over the place and reliant on external validation. There are so many people in this industry at the moment, and this industry being the whole online business space, that have so much reliance on external validation. As soon as engagement is down on Instagram, everyone's saying Instagram is dead and they hate Instagram. And then you've got the people who are teaching Instagram who are like, but look, my engagement is amazing. And it's this whole thing. And at the end of the day, does it actually matter? No, it doesn't. Because when you can just find your truth and your conviction and your confidence and the love of the journey, in the creation, it doesn't matter what happens outside of you. And this is really where I want you to be. I don't want you to be relying on inspiration and motivation in order to move. I don't want you to be relying on external validation and other people moving in order for you to move. Action, this action piece, this building momentum piece, because this is what it's really about, it starts and ends with you. And the best way to do it is from a place of pure trust and conviction within yourself, confidence within yourself to make the moves regardless of what is going on outside of you. When you can anchor into yourself, without looking at external circumstances, without needing the validation from the engagement or the metrics or even the sales, this is when you become unfucking stoppable. And this is what I want for you. I want you to be able to build this momentum irrespective of anything outside of you, because this is how you're going to collapse time. This is the most powerful place to be. And the best way to do that is actually through the process that I'm going to take you through today, called the wisdom process. This is really all about taking inspired, grounded action. This is the most sustainable way to move, because it is all about tapping into yourself, your superconscious, your intuition, into the field for the wisdom and the guidance that you need. You have access to this all of the time. You can tap into this in any moment and ask what your obvious next step is. And when you do that and you start to lead your life that way, you get to watch things transform in what feels like the blink of an eye. I'm literally conducting a 12-month experiment at the moment where I just do this every single day. Every day I ask, what is the obvious next step? The guidance comes to me and I go and I do that thing. It doesn't always make sense. Sometimes I'm like, the fuck, like that has nothing to do with where I'm going, but I trust and I do it anyway. Sometimes I do the thing and nothing comes of it, and that's perfect because it's all part of the journey and I don't know what that thing is going to lead to in the future. This is the key. This is trust and conviction and confidence within yourself. Now, the other way that people like to move is through totally logical action. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with if you decide to look at your vision, look at your goals, look at your choices, and then reverse engineer them and decide where you want to be at each step along the way and move in that manner and direction. That will absolutely get you to where you want to go. The reason I don't do this is because it's totally logical, and logic doesn't leave room for magic. I want to create results in a way that has people looking and scratching their head and thinking, holy fuck, how did she actually do that? Not because I care what other people think, but I desire to move fast. Not fast as in hustle and burnout, but fast as in achieve more in less time from a place of ease and flow and alignment and abundance. This is how I create, right? And so if you want to play in logic and achieving milestones at the expected time that you would achieve milestones, that is absolutely perfect, and this isn't for you. Yesterday we spoke all about self-sabotage and traumas and block chakras and all of the things, and how they keep us from reaching our goals, because when we take action from that energy, firstly, if we can even take action, because often what happens is people have these underlying beliefs, or they get triggered, or the stories that are playing out or whatever, they're falling in self-sabotage and lack and scarcity and doubt and fear and all of the things. You've been there. They get taken completely out of action. And so that's obviously why the reprogramming part is important. But the second piece to that is that the energy in which we take action from, the way that we move, matters, because people can feel it. And this is why I have been saying over and over and over again already in this call that I want you to move from a place of trust and conviction and confidence. This is what makes up magnetism. When you are just you in your energy, trusting yourself deeply, like you're so anchored into trust, you have conviction in what you're doing, and you are speaking and holding yourself with an air of confidence, you become unfucking stoppable. I'm not here to argue strategy versus mindset and energy. Like, we need both. There is no doubt about it. What I will say, though, is that on that note, the strategy means nothing without the energy behind it. And sometimes people who move with trust and conviction and certainty in what they're doing will completely outleap the people who are so focused on the nitty-gritty strategy. And that is because the conviction, the trust, the certainty cannot be taught in a strategy. And a strategy that comes from a place of uncertainty and of putting power outside of you and of relying on meeting certain criteria and creating content in a certain way and doing all of these things, again, all of the stuff outside of us, all the power is outside of you, that can be felt. Obviously, the ideal choice is a perfect blend of both, where you have a really solid strategy that works for you, that meets all of the needs and the criteria that you have and your audience have, and you move within it with trust and certainty and conviction. If you don't yet have the strategy that allows you to do that, the focus for you is actually on learning to move with trust and certainty and conviction. This will move your business forwards in ways that you cannot imagine, because it can be felt. It can be felt. This is energy. This is emotion. It can be felt. A strategy can't be felt, especially, well, it can be felt when it has lack and doubt and uncertainty behind it. But a strategy that's just out there in the world means nothing without your energy behind it. When we look at self-sabotage and mindset issues and traumas and all of those things, it's really easy to get caught up in the big ways that it happens. And that's very much what yesterday's call was focused on. But that's because today I want to focus on the nitty-gritty and the micro stuff. Because the ways that we self-sabotage on a micro level have just as much, if not more, impact than the big ways that we self-sabotage. This can look like resistance to posting content, resistance to selling daily, the most common, right? Resistance to pitching to that podcast, to opening messages in your inbox, to replying to messages, to replying to emails, to reaching out to that mentor and hiring them, to booking that healing session that you've been looking at and thinking about for ages, for joining that course. This resistance, these tiny things that you're like, that doesn't even matter, like, that's not going to affect me, it is. These small micro moves that you are avoiding, when people say that the key to your success is hidden in your daily routine, they're not necessarily talking about your morning routine or your evening routine or anything like that. What they're actually talking about is the way that you lead yourself every day. The way that you lead yourself every day, the way that you move. And the moves that you avoid, the resistance that you sit in, makes just as much of a difference when it comes to manifesting, quantum leaping, collapsing time as the things that you actually go and put yourself out there and do. The nitty gritty is so important, and I just cannot stress that enough. The quantum leap is made up of the micro moves. This is exactly why I have Momentum, the membership. This is the whole key, right? You want to build momentum. Momentum starts with the small steps. And usually you're avoiding the small steps, therefore you haven't built momentum. Or you're doing the small steps, but you're so friggin' inconsistent that it doesn't have time to build momentum, because you can't maintain it, because you're in and out of lack and doubt and scarcity. And then all of a sudden you're inspired and motivated and you're moving and it's all over the place. Consistency, baby steps, momentum. That is how it works. Consistency of your baby steps equals momentum. And again, this is exactly why I have the membership. Imagine jumping on calls every single week where you get to just pop in, recode anything that's come up for you, clear the resistance, shift the energy, and then leave the call hyper clear on what you actually need to do with next to no resistance left in this energy of like, let's just fucking do this. I deeply love, trust, respect myself, and I am ready to move irrespective of what's going on around me. Imagine the time that you could collapse if you move from that energy. That's why I built this membership. If you're interested in that, there's a link below this video. Otherwise, you can reach out to me on Instagram. I really want to just keep this though to talking about the action piece. And the final thing that I really want to touch on with that action piece is, how are you going to lead yourself this year? Who are you choosing to be in every micro moment? What does that look like? Now, I was going to put this in the first call that was all around choices, but I decided to leave it in the action piece because it really is like the final piece to the puzzle, not necessarily the first thing. I don't want this to be about reinventing yourself and changing things outside of you. When I say, how are you going to make the moves? How are you going to build the momentum? How are you going to take the action? Like, what energy is that going to be from? Who are you choosing to be? It's not from a place of you need to become something else. It's from a place of you get to choose the energy that you're going to play in each and every day. That is on you. And if your energy is reliant on external circumstances, we have more healing and reprogramming work to be done. Your energy cannot rely on external circumstances. You get to choose every single day how you are going to lead yourself, who you are going to be in the micro moments of your day. And that makes more of a difference than you can even put your finger on. I always used to say, because I thought it was like really gaslighty of the personal development industry, when people would be out there being like, you want to attract clients to pay you 10K for a coaching package, and yet you've got dirty dishes in your sink and like a pile of washing on your bed and your car is a mess, and yet, you know, you expect people to pay you 10K. That's not going to happen. And I was always like, that's really wrong, and it's so gaslighty, and clients actually don't care if you've got dishes in your sink, clothes on your bed, or a messy car. They actually don't. However, it's the energy in which you lead from. And I do truly believe that when you look at yourself holistically as a founder, because that's what you are, you're the founder of your business. You are the key, the inspiration, like the cornerstone of your business. And if you're not looking after yourself and holding yourself to the standard of the woman you desire to be, that is going to come through as leaky energy. This isn't something that people can feel, but it's you're not in your peak condition, right? You're not in your peak condition. You are scattered because your environment is scattered. You're not going to be able to show up, and this in itself is a self-sabotage pattern. You get to choose in every day how you're going to lead your life. It doesn't stop and end with your business. So I want you to decide to think about over the next 24 hours how you want to move and who you want to be this year. I don't want you to think about what that looks like in the way of changing all of these things that are outside of you. I want it to start from within. It's the biggest mistake that people make when they set out on this journey to become their higher self, their best self, their hottest self, their wealth, whatever, right? Is that it all becomes about external things that they're out there doing instead of who they are being at the core and addressing the underlying beliefs. Because I am yet to see anyone talk about this, like being the woman that you're here to be, that actually does proper work to address the limiting beliefs. And I wasn't going to say that, but we said it. It's all good. We went there. But truly, addressing the underlying beliefs and shifting who you are from that level, how you see yourself, how you show up, is going to then have a domino effect on everything else. A real key and cornerstone to everything that has shifted my life is realizing that it all starts with me. It all comes from within. There is nothing outside of me that gets to determine how I show up, my energy, how I lead myself, who I am, what I do. It's all within. And I know that it sounds so cliche to be like, you have the answers within, but it's cliche because you actually do. You actually do, and you're not tapping into it because you're putting all your power outside of yourself. So I want you to really think about who you want to be this year, how you want to lead, and how you want to move. What I'm going to show you now is how you get to tap into the field, to receive downloads, to receive wisdom, to receive guidance that you can then go and put into action. And maybe you want to join me on my 12-month experiment of doing this every single day and then going and doing the thing no matter how scary. Imagine how different your life could be if every single day you just made one micro move towards the vision that you have. You know, this is how people achieve things that they thought would take 5 years in 1 year, because they just follow the trust and the guidance. And they're always anchored into that. That is their truth. And the final piece that I want to say to that is that there are going to be moments over the year where you are doing the action piece, where you are making the moves, and you're not seeing the evidence of it working. You need to trust that even though you can't see the evidence, that it is working. Because remembering, nothing outside of you gets to determine what is within. You need to be able to move without seeing the evidence. This is true self-trust. Self-trust is just knowing that everything that comes to you is coming to you for a reason, and that even when you can't see evidence in your external reality, in your physical circumstances, that it's actually still working, and it's compounding, and it's building, and it's conspiring in your favor. This is the piece that so many people miss because they're out there seeking the external validation, and then when it comes, because they've tied their self-worth and their trust and their confidence and their conviction and their certainty to receiving all of these things and proof that it's working, when you can do that and anchor back in yourself, this is when the leaps speed up tenfold. We're playing with energy here. We don't play in time. We don't play in logic. When we play with energy, things shift within first. Before you see any changes in your external reality, everything starts within here, and you have to be able to believe that what you think and what you feel and the guidance that you receive and the certainty and the knowing that you have is more real and true than anything outside of you. So, I'm going to teach you now exactly how you can tap into the quantum field at any time to receive any guidance on something big or small, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter. We can use this again, micro, macro, whatever. Today, the way we're going to use this process is simply on your obvious next step to ground in your vision and your certainty and your trust and your conviction and everything that we've been talking about over the past few days. So we're going pretty broad, right? But what you can do is use this on a weekly basis. You can decide every single week to tap into the vision, the choices, and ask, what's the obvious next step this week that I need to do? I can't remember if I actually mentioned this in day one or not, but so many people talk about, having a vision and then surrendering it to the universe and then, just trusting and knowing that it's going to come and making moves and all this stuff. But what I actually believe is that we need to stay tapped into that vision. That's why we do choices and painting the vision on the first day, because that then becomes your guiding star. And you can see that we then used it again in day 2 to reprogram, to bring up the things from the quantum field that are potentially going to become an issue for you, to reprogram them, to rewrite them, to shift your energy, right? To release the traumas, to do all the things that we did yesterday. And now we're going back to it again today. And it's going to become today your North Star, the thing that you're really anchored into. And from anchoring into that, you're going to see how you can receive wisdom and guidance from the quantum field. I don't believe in just surrendering everything to the universe and putting it out there and waiting for what is going to come back. I co-create with the universe. I do my part. I literally say, I am willing to do whatever you ask me to do. I trust that what comes through to me is for me, and I will do the thing. But I'm asking for the thing. Give me the guidance. Give me the wisdom. What do you want me to do today, this week, this month, this year? And I will do it, knowing that you will take care of the rest. I literally have conversations with the universe like this all the time. It probably sounds really fucking weird, but that's what I do. That's how I lead my life. It's got me to where I am. And we're just like accelerating further now. It's so fun. And it doesn't take energy to do this. It's just a way of being. It's a way of life. It's integrated. When you are on a journey of becoming the woman that you want to be, or your higher self, or your best self, or like whatever, things feel conscious all the time because it's not integrated, because it's something outside of you. But when you just be the woman that you're here to be every single day, when you wake up and you choose and you ask for the wisdom and you ask for the guidance, it's integrated. It's easy and it doesn't cost energy. You can't fall off the bandwagon because you are it. It's an identity. It is you. It is part of you. This is also the very cornerstone of Momentum, the membership, because we'll be tapping into this vision on a micro and a macro level every single week in order to receive this guidance and then recode any resistance that's coming up. So I'm going to guide you through the process now. I feel like I've done enough talking. I'm going to guide you through the process. You can come back to this. You can do the same thing at any time. If you desire that extra support, Momentum, the membership, the link is below. Otherwise, you can book a one-on-one session with me. And I have heaps of exciting things coming up this year, but this really isn't just about, it's not about me being here and selling a program to you. This 3-part series is about you getting an actual transformation and an experience into a different way of leading yourself, of doing business and all the things. So let's do the wisdom process. This is so fun. It's so easy. It's so simple. And you can literally do it anywhere. You can do it in your car. You can do it in your house. You can do it in your bed, whatever comes through to you. It only takes a few minutes. It's super simple. A few key things to note. Number 1, it requires deep trust. You need to trust the thing that comes through to you. Even if it doesn't make sense, it came through for a reason. Number 2, the things that come through, we're receiving wisdom and guidance from the quantum field. In the quantum field, time doesn't exist. And we our guides, our intuition, the quit field, like whatever you want to call it, we like to be given wisdom and information that's going to be like the fastest way to do things. But sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And so it requires, again, the trust that the thing that came through is the thing that you need to do. Even if you can't make logical sense of it, just do the thing anyway. But also knowing that this is the key to collapsing time. We're playing on a different timeline. Of course, it doesn't make sense to where you are. If you're waiting for something to make sense, we're not playing in a logical time, in a logical growth. And that's where the magic really is. The third thing is that the thing that comes through could be in any kind of weird shape or form. And I literally mean that. You could get an image. You could get a word. Some people just get a letter and they've got to decipher it. Sometimes it's a very specific action. Sometimes it's quite literally, and this was me for years and years and years, it used to just be, just keep going. And every time I did this process and it said, just keep going, I would be so frustrated because I was like, I just want a specific thing. Like, I want to know exactly the thing that I need to do. But here's the thing. I just kept going and I kept doing the things and I kept trusting and I kept leaning in and I kept doing the work and the healing and the reprogramming and the releasing. And that actually is what got me to here. And it forced me to continue to trust my intuition and my guidance and the things that come to me, because when I did this, all I got was just keep going. So I was already on the right path, and it was a beautiful reminder. So if that happens for you, don't get frustrated. It's just confirmation that you're already doing the things that you need to do, and you literally just need to keep going. You need to trust what comes through to you. The second thing is, we're at the fourth thing, actually. The fourth thing is that your ego, your conscious mind, is going to want to jump in and start overthinking this. I see it all the time. The thing that comes through, the first thing that comes to your mind is the answer. Anything after that is ego. So I only want you to write down one thing, and it's the first thing. I don't want you to fall into overthinking. I don't want you to question it, to doubt, nothing. As soon as the first thing comes to your mind, you open your eyes and you write down the thing, right? We can decipher it later. If you get an answer and you're like, I really don't know what this means, and that happens sometimes, especially if you're new to this world or you're not as tapped into your intuition as other people or as you maybe used to be, that's perfectly fine. What I want you to do is drop it in the comments below this video, because I can help you decipher it. I can help tap into the field, into the guidance, into the wisdom, and I can help you uncover what it means for you. Often I'll get like downloads and inspiration and hits of things for other people, very intuitive, and it's something that I'm really leaning into at the moment. So I would love to help you with this if you feel a little bit lost or stuck with the thing that came through to you. All right, I think we've spoken enough. Let's do the thing. I'm so excited about this. When you're ready, I want you to close your eyes. Take a big deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I want you to take yourself back to that vision of everything that you're creating this year. And don't see it from a bird's eye point of view. I want you to be there, experiencing it, feeling it, seeing it play out around you. See your perfect day. How you wake up. Who's there? What are you doing? How are you spending your time? And really just see yourself living that day out. Think about what else is on the books for you. Like, what else is on the cards? What have you got planned coming up? Maybe you're going on some holidays. Maybe you're running some events. Like, whatever it is for you, I want you to just really see it play out. Really see it. And go with whatever comes up. Might be something different to what you've written down. When we tap into this, we uncover things, and it's really magic. My vision has expanded so much simply from doing these sorts of activities. Really just seeing your perfect day playing out. See yourself working with the clients. Maybe you're not working. Maybe your money is working for you and you've been able to fully retire. Whatever it is for you. See it all playing out. Now, what I really want you to be doing here is noticing the feelings. Like, how fun is this? How fucking amazing is it that you created this? And really like lean into that gratitude and the freedom and the feelings of fun and flow and anything that's coming through to you. However it is that you want to experience this life, I want you to really start to feel them. And I want you to feel it to the point that it's like radiating through your whole body, like vibrating through your body. So I want you to start to dial it up now. So imagine at the moment you're just at a one level of feeling. You're going to dial it up to a 2. Now a 3. And like really feeling it up to a 4, turning it up to a 5, up to a 6. It probably is starting to feel a bit weird, like how can I feel it anymore? But you're going to just really lean in and choose to feel this more, choose for this feeling to just flow through your whole body, up to a 7 and an 8, going higher again to a 9, and finally a 10. And just sit here for a moment, seeing it all play out, really feeling it, letting it vibrate through your body. Now I want you to ask yourself, looking back to you right here in this seat or wherever you are across from me, from that place. So you're in that place, you're in that energy, you're in that vibe, you're looking back to where you are now. Ask yourself, what is the obvious next step? So just again, you're in that feeling, you're in that vibe, you're in that place, you're looking back to where you are now. What is the obvious